Once upon a time, there was an emperor who had sons. He let the princes marry 7 princesses from neighboring countries. One day, to test the hearts of his sons, he ordered them to shave their heads bald. Princess. This was an unreasonable way to humiliate his wife, but everyone obeyed their father and number 39's orders. Long, shiny hair fell to the ground one after another. All, except the youngest man and number 39's wife, Prince Salaydin. "Dear father," he told his father, "even though my love and respect for you is boundless, I cannot obey your orders." Fatima did not deserve such a punishment. She was an impeccably lovely woman. The king became furious, deprived the youngest prince of all inheritance rights, and then kicked the couple out of the palace. The 2 unfortunate people had to wander for a long time. They went from city to city, from country to country. Until one day they stopped in front of a castle standing proudly on a hill. Salaydin, who was a cautious person, headed towards the castle alone. He quickly discovered that it was the residence of a hideous creature. As soon as he stepped through the door, the demon crashed into him. Both were equal in talent and had the same goal, so the battle took place for a long time and was fierce. Finally, Salaydin used all his strength to deliver a fatal blow, causing the demon to roll over at his feet. The prince dragged the demon to the deepest room at the back of the castle and locked him there. Once finished, he brought his wife in. He said as he handed over the key to the entire large castle to his wife, "You can stay anywhere you like, except for the room at the end of the hallway, which you are not allowed to set foot in." From then on, every day the prince went there. Go hunting and return only at sunset. Fatima stayed at the castle alone. To kill time, she wandered here and there, strolling from the palace to the gardens. She visited small rooms and large rooms. She climbed up the tower and explored underground bunkers. There was only one place she did not dare to enter, which was the room at the end of the hallway. One day, a key fell from the chain, and Fatima immediately bent down to pick it up. That is the key to the forbidden room. Thousands of questions suddenly flashed in her mind. Why doesn't and #39 she have the right to go there? What is her husband hiding from her? Who was in that room that she could N and #39 see? Out of curiosity, Fatima slowly opened the forbidden door and put one foot inside. She suddenly heard a painful sigh coming from very deep. She stopped. "Who and number 39's in there?" she asked guiltily. "I am a god," a moaning voice answered her. "I was injured by your husband. He locked me here. If I get close to you, you and number 39's hurt me, right?" Asked, "How can I do that? Look how much pain I have to endure?" The demon whispered. Having said that, it transformed and disguised itself as a boy with blue eyes like the color of seawater. The demon continued, "On the contrary, if you take care of my wound, I will protect you against everything." The witch and number 39's magical powers. The princess was quickly fascinated by his beauty. So every day, she visited the demon, cared for its wounds, and brought it food and water. Gradually, the demon regained its strength and one day it completely recovered. He confessed to the princess that he fell in love with her. And what did Salaydin do then? He was still immersed in Fatima and number 39's deep blue gaze without knowing that she had forgotten the love and loyalty a wife must have to him. One day, Fatima asked the demon, "What should we do now?" "Pretend you are sick," the demon suggested. "I will turn into a healer and tell the prince that only apples grow in only the seventh kingdom of the desert. God can cure her. Her husband will go there and he will not be able to return." Fatima went to get a turmeric plant, put it in boiling water, wait for the water to cool, then apply it on her face, making her beautiful cheeks turn yellow. After finishing, she took a wet towel and applied it to her forehead and lay down on the bed. When the prince returned from hunting, he heard his wife moaning and rushed into the room. "What in number 39's wrong with you?" he asked worriedly. "I feel very tired." Fatima sighed. "Go find a healer. I often see him walking past the castle towards the lake. He probably lives there." A moment later, Salaydin returned with the charlatan. "Death has already placed his hand on your wife," he said after examining the patient. "I can and number 39 help anymore." The prince fell. Leaving his limbs, he buried his face in his palms. "Only desert magic apples can cure this disease," the evil demon added. Salaydin flashed hope and said, "I will find those apples. I will find them even if I have to go to the ends of the earth." The prince did not hesitate to hug and kiss his wife and then quickly set off. He went to the market in the city to buy cheese, bread, wine, a pair of scissors and a razor ready for the journey of thousands of miles. Salaydin had been gone for a long time. He finally set foot in the first kingdom of the god of the desert. A hideous demon with an extremely large shape, an unprecedented thick beard covering his face and reaching to the ground, is waiting for him. "Hello," Salaydin said and laughed. "Hello," the demon replied. "If you had an and #39 greeted me, I would have eaten you, thrown the bones for hyenas and jackals to eat." The prince gave cheese and bread for the demon to eat. Then pour wine for it to drink. After eating and drinking, he shaved and cut his hair. "What are you doing here?" the demon asked with satisfaction. "I want to pick some apples in your magic garden," the prince replied. "But do you know that you are picking apples for an ungrateful woman?" "I have to pick them as best I can." "That apple," Salaydin replied, not wanting to argue with the demon. "Okay, just go straight, cross this desert and you will meet my brother. Greet him politely and treat him as kindly as you did me. He will show you the way to the magic garden." The prince greeted the demon and then set off again. A few days later, he saw the second demon in front of him. This demon looked even scarier than his brother. Salaydin greeted it kindly, fed it, gave it water, then cut its hair and shaved it cleanly. He asked for directions to the magic garden. The second demon replied, "Go ahead, you will meet my eldest brother. Greet him and be as courteous as you were to me. He will show you the way to find that garden." Just like that, Salaydin shaved and cut the hair of the 7 terrifying demons. The 7th demon told him, "Behind that sand dune is my mother and number 39's residence. Greet her kindly and drink the sweet milk she gives you. If you behave well, she will fulfill all your wishes." The prince left again. Across the sand dunes, he met an old and wrinkled witch. He greeted politely and drank the cup of sweet milk she gave him. "What do you want?" she asks. "A few apples. In her magical garden," Salaydin replied. "Leave it to your ungrateful wife?" she asked. "Yes." The prince replied without understanding anything but also not wanting to argue with the old woman. "You drank my milk. You have behaved like my son. Come inside, you will be right at home." They entered a very large house. Just then the ground shook violently. Salaydin panicked and quickly cowered in the corner. "Those are my demon children who have returned," the witch explained. "They will eat you anyway. Where can I hide you now?" She blew on Salaydin, turned him into a needle and pinned it on his head. Just then 7 demons walked in. "I smell human flesh." One of the children spoke and asked, "If it was a boy, he would be our younger brother." They all said in unison, "If it is an old man, we will respect it like our father. If it and number 39, a girl, we and number 39, treat it as a sister, and if it and number 39, an old woman, we and number 39, treat it as a grandmother. Swear that you one and number 39, harm that person." The mother requested we swear. 7 voices answered in unison. She raised her hand to her head and pulled out the needle. She blew on the needle and turned Salaydin back into a human. "Welcome to our house, little brother," all 7 demons said with satisfaction. The mother asks, "Which of you will take him to the magical garden?" The eldest son said, "Son, we will return after a year. Come with me. It only took 6 months." The second boy promised. Everyone competed to speak over the other and number 39's voice. Everyone promised to return earlier than the deadline and the time kept shortening. Finally, the youngest demon said, "I will put you there." He got on his back and walked back in just an hour. "Okay, he and number 39, go with you," the witch ordered. "But you can and number 39, take him out for lunch." Salaydin climbed on the back of the 7th demon and soared high into the sky. "I will place you at the gate to the magic garden and you will enter there alone. You will meet a black snake. If it closes its eyes and the flies go in through its nose and out through its tail, you can and number 39, go near the apples. On the contrary, if it opens its eyes and the flies go in through its tail and out through its nose, you can come closer. Pick a few apples and get out quickly. The trees will talk to you, promising you an eternal life. Don and number 39, listen to them and Don and number 39, come back." Then they would throw stones at him. Each stone would turn into a demon that would chase after him and throw stones at him. One more thing, if you look into their eyes you will immediately turn into stone. Salaydin went into the garden. The snake and number 39's strange eyes were wide open, flies entered its tail and then exited its nose. Salaydin picked a few apples then turned on his heel and left. "Come back, Salaydin," the trees cried, "we will give you the apples of immortality." The prince turned around, the apple trees threw stones at him instead of giving him the apples as promised. Each rock turns into a terrifying demon. They chased him and in turn threw rocks at him. Now the prince remembered the 7th devil and number 39's advice. He hugged the apples tightly in his arms and quickly ran towards the gate. The good devil was waiting for him. The prince climbed on its back and the 2 of them soared high again. On the way back to the land of humans, you will meet a shepherd and 3 dogs. Buy those 3 dogs at a high price. They will be very useful to you in the future. They will save you from danger. The demon gave him that advice and flew even higher. When Salaydin said goodbye to the family of 7 good demons, his mother said to him, "I will give you a precious gift. From now on you will have strength equal to the strength of all 7 of my children combined. 7 silver hairs will grow on your head, and your strength will be in them. Now go, may Allah bless you." Salaydin thanked the witch mother and the 7 good demons and then set off home. On the way he met a shepherd. The prince bought 3 dogs at a very expensive price, 3 times the price he asked for, then continued on his way. He walked all day and night until he saw the castle on the hill again. Because he was so worried about his wife and number 39's health, he quickly ran towards the castle, but Fatima did not expect to see her husband again so soon. She was wearing a beautiful dress. The naive prince believed that she dressed like that to welcome him back. The prince immediately hugged his wife lovingly. "She has recovered from her illness," he shouted, unable to contain his happiness. "It doesn't and #39 matter if I have worked hard on the journey just now, even if it was in vain. I will eat these apples. My health will be even better." The ungrateful wife said. Fatima quickly put away the apples she had saved and gave them to the green-eyed demon to make it stronger than before. As soon as the prince went hunting, Fatima rushed to meet him. He must be eliminated immediately. She said, "Eat these apples, you will become much stronger, that way you can kill him." "I don't and number 39 think so." The demon grumbled and replied, "Your husband should have died in the land of desert demons. How did he come back intact? He must have made an alliance with some powerful demon, which gave him the power to defeat him. Fatina lay still forever. If he could defeat him by force, he would have to use tricks. You should tie him up," the demon suggested after a moment of thought. "When he breaks the rope loops, ask where his strength lies." Fatima prepared a very sumptuous dinner and then waited for her husband to return from hunting. After finishing eating, the wife gently asked her husband, "Can you break this chain if I tie you up?" "Of course." Salaydin was surprised by his wife and number 39's strange question. The princess smiled and crouched in her husband and number 39's arms. "I am very curious to see your strength." "Okay, then tie me up." Salaydin laughed. Fatima tied her husband up. Salaydin braced himself, his muscular muscles emerged, breaking the ropes. Now the cruel wife approached her husband, flattered him, lovingly stroked his hair and gently asked where that strength came from. "Do you really need to know?" The prince asks. "That and number 39's right." Fatima gently replied, "I am your wife and I have the right to know everything about my husband." Salaydin said, thinking that his wife truly cared, he revealed to her the secret. He had the power of 7. The desert devil combined. 4 days later, in the morning, Fatima told her husband that she had just seen a lice on his head and needed to catch it immediately. The prince laid his head on his wife and number 39's pillow. But instead of finding it, Fatima found the silver hairs and pulled them out. Then she asked to tie her husband up again to see his strength again. She used rope to tie him tightly to a stone pillar. Salaydin strained his body, but the ropes were still intact, his strength was gone. Fatima, elated at the victory, did not hide her love for the eye demon. Green again and told how she took care of him to recover from his illness. "I will go find my lover and that person will kill you. After that, that person and I will get married." Finally she concluded. Salaydin was so surprised by those words that he could n and #39 say a word. He was helpless and sad as he watched his wife go in search of the demon. Left alone, he whistled to call the dogs to come. A moment later, 3 dogs ran back to their owner and bit off the rope to free him. Then they started licking him. Every time their tongues touched his body, it seemed as if the strength of all 3 healthy people entered his body. Just a moment later, he regained his strength as before, and with just one sword shot, he finished off the green-eyed demon and cut it into 2 pieces. He turned to his wife and said, "As for you, traitor, your fate will be much more miserable. I will tie you to this post. Before you die, you must endure hunger and thirst." Despite Fatima and number 39's pitiful cries, he and the dogs still left the castle. He crossed valleys and plains, crossed mountains to deserts, and finally, one day he saw a very beautiful young girl wearing a wedding dress. Her face turned pale and her body trembled with fear. "What are you doing alone in front of this cave?" Salaydin asked. "What are you afraid of?" The girl sighed heavily and then spoke. "There is an evil demon living in there. It has blocked our water source in this cave." As she said, she pointed to the cave in front of her. "Our animals and trees all died of thirst. It will only let the water flow if we give it a young girl every day. Today it and number 39's my turn. I am Nabilia, daughter of the king of this country. I and number 39 am waiting for the demon to come and take me away." Salaydin thought for a moment, then looked straight into the girl and number 39's eyes. "I will free you from this demon, I will eliminate it." "How can you do that?" "It is even more terrible than the desert demons. When the demon comes to find you," Salaydin continued, "ask him to release the water source so that she can bathe in cool water before marrying him. Tell her that she is a princess, not like other normal girls. It will stick its head out of the cave, and then I will cut off its head." Nabilia feels hope again. She smiled again and sang softly. The demon hiding in the dark cave heard this and was very surprised because this was the first time he saw a girl not crying and sad. "Come here. Let and number 39's enter the cave," the demon ordered. The princess replied, "Number, I will only enter the cave if you let the water run. I would love to bathe with you in the cool water." "Come in and Don and number 39's do as all the other girls do. I and number 39 am not like the other girls. I am the king and number 39's daughter. Princess weddings are supposed to be fun." The demon hesitated for a moment, then it crawled out of the cave. As soon as he stuck his head out, Salaydin swung his sword and gave a fatal blow. A stream of black blood spurted out from its body and mixed with the cool water. Nabilia jumped for joy. She hugged her life-saving benefactor and returned to meet her father. "Is that my beloved daughter?" the king shouted in surprise. "Is that really you?" But the princess did not let her father calm down. She asked him to go out and notify the whole capital to go get water that had been released by the demon. There has been more than a day in the capital without a drop of water. The people happily removed the black funeral ribbons. The whole capital was filled with flowers and colorful ribbons on the streets and alleys. The people laughed and danced very boisterously. Nabilia expressed her desire to marry him. The brave man who eliminated misfortune for the whole kingdom became his husband. The king acts in surprise. But where is he now? I Don and number 39, T no either. The princess replied sadly, but if I saw you, I would definitely recognize you. The king then issued an order to all the young men. Those who want to be a son-in-law should gather together. The news spread and caused a stir in every direction. The young men were all clean-shaven and dressed in their best clothes to go to the palace. The princess looked at the crowd and considered the boys coming to compete, but by evening she still hadn't and #39 seen the person she was looking for. Suddenly she discovered Salaydin and 3 dogs next to him. She immediately signaled to choose him as her concubine. The king welcomed him warmly and respectfully. He expressed his gratitude to him for saving the entire capital and was happy to marry his daughter to him. Salaydin was very happy to accept the invitation. The next day, the wedding was held. It was the most beautiful and splendid wedding party the people had ever seen. All were invited to share in the happiness with the princess and the hero. After the wedding, Sabiyah asked him, "Salaydin, do you have no relatives?" "I have a sister." The lying prince was afraid to admit that his father had kicked him and his treacherous first wife out of the castle. "Why doesn't and #39 your sister come to live with us?" the princess suggested. Salaydin thought for a moment. Surely Fatima would prefer to live as his younger brother rather than starve or die of thirst beside that stone pillar. Hesitating for a moment, he replied, "I will go find you and bring you back here if that is what you want." The next morning, Salaydin got on his horse and left. When he returned to the castle, he found Fatima very weak. He took care of her, and gradually she regained her strength. He told her how he killed the hideous demon in the cave and how he married the princess. "Are you married again?" Fatima roared. "I follow Islam. Religion allows us to marry 4 wives." Salaydin replied, "Maybe you have forgotten that you betrayed me, and still want to kill me? I will let you live, but you must promise me that from now on you will treat me like my younger brother." Fatima promised everything, just to preserve her life. Then they set out. When they approached the cave where Salaydin had killed the demon, Fatima told her to stop so she could rest for a while. The prince got off his horse and walked a bit in the forest. Meanwhile, Fatima, instead of going to sleep, took out a small bottle, filled it with the demon and number 39's blood that was still on the ground, and hid it inside her body. When Salaydin returned, he did not know anything. The two continued their journey. The king and princess were extremely happy to welcome Fatima. Nabiyah said, "Dear sister, you will stay with your brother tonight." 2 people who Haven and number 39 seen each other for a long time must have a lot to talk about. "She will sleep in the next room." Fatima trembled with joy, thinking that that innocent girl had given her a chance to take revenge. Salaydin woke up at midnight. He felt thirsty. Fatima got up and brought a glass of water that she had drunk. "Mix the demon and number 39's blood for Salaydin to drink." He drank it all in one gulp, then felt dizzy and exhausted. The next morning, the whole palace was awakened by Fatima and number 39's cries. Nabiyah rushed to her husband and number 39's room. "What happened?" the princess cried out when she saw her husband and number 39's motionless body. "Fatima, please tell me." "I Don and number 39 no." The evil woman replied, "When I woke up, I saw that he was like that. Hurry, call the doctor." The princess screamed. After examining the patient, the doctor immediately said, "I am number 39. I'm sorry, but this person has died." As soon as he heard this, Nabila screamed loudly and fell to the ground unconscious. The whole capital was again covered in mourning. Everyone came to see off the royal son-in-law to the royal cemetery under the canopy of cypress trees. The princess was so sad and disappointed that she fell ill. For 3 days, the children waited for Salaydin to return to bring them food, but he was nowhere to be found. On the 4th day, they tore off the chains and ran everywhere looking for him. From large rooms to small rooms, underground basements or high towers, they searched but could not find Salaydin. Princess Nabila looked at him. Followed the dogs, deeply moved by their loyalty. Then the dogs left the castle following the hearse and number 39's tracks, passing through the capital to the cemetery. Nabila called the soldiers and ordered them to follow the dogs. Just arriving at their master and number 39's grave, all 3 dogs used their paws to dig up the dirt. They used their teeth to tear their master and number 39's clothes and then licked his body without stopping. Suddenly, Salaydin and 39's head moved. The dogs continued licking, he moved his arms again, then his legs. Princess Nabila and the soldiers hiding behind stood still in surprise. Finally, the prince was able to sit up and the 3 loyal dogs gave him all their strength. They lay down on the sand and stopped breathing. Nabila could and 39's believe his eyes anymore. Her beloved husband is still alive. He took her hand, and Nabila quickly threw herself into her husband and number 39's arms, filled with happiness. Everyone returned to the castle amid the cheers of the crowd. Salaydin called the best veterinarian in the capital to the cemetery to look at the 3 dogs. They died from the monster and number 39's blood. The doctor replied. Salaydin could not believe his ears. How could such a thing happen? But he suddenly thought, reviewing everything that had happened from the time he freed Fatima to the time he died. Salaydin remembered the questions she asked when passing by the place where the demon was killed. He also remembered walking for a while in the woods near the demon and number 39's cave. It was Fatima who brought him water to drink on the night he died. Now Salaydin was certain. Misfortune came from that evil, cruel woman. Crazy with anger, he entered her room. "I and number 39 am still alive," he shouted. "I gave up everything for you, my father and all 6 of my brothers. Because of you, I had to travel to the land of the 7 desert demons to find the magic apple. Yet you still want to kill me with the devil and number 39's blood. I will banish you to the desert with hyenas and wolves. There you can no longer harm anyone." Salaydin did exactly what he said. Since then the prince lived happily with Princess Nabila and her 7 children. He was given the throne by the king after his death. Salaydin ruled that kingdom very wisely and fairly. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.